Hello, I've decided to make a couple of videos. The first one, this one, is going to be about the reasons that I left the shambles that is the UK, and the second one will be about the reasons that I love it in Cambodia. The second one will be coming soon, but stay tuned because here come my reasons. Okay, so number one is the people. It's a bit harsh, I know, but when I started my Tony Get Your Life in Order campaign in 2018, everything changed. As per the Serenity Prayer, I decided to change the things I could and accept the things I could not change. Anyway, as a result, I found that I had nothing in common with anybody anymore. Not anybody. I found that everybody that I knew was complaining about the things they could not change and giving excuses for the things they could rather than change them. It was like they were putting more effort into justifying their reasons for being crap than actually trying to not be crap. That's just like, I just can't be around that. Everyone just seems to be demoralised and defeated or entitled or just begrudging and resentful and And then in 2020 we had COVID, and that really was the icing on the cake for me. Everybody was banging their pots and pans on a Thursday night. Everybody was putting their masks on as they go around the supermarket and moaning about people that weren't wearing their masks. People were isolated from each other. There was no real community anymore. Everyone was scared of each other. People were crossing the roads to avoid each other. People were laying underneath their beds wiping their asses on tortilla chips because everyone was panic buying, so you couldn't get any essentials from the supermarket. It was bloody ridiculous. And what made it worse, if I just turned the news off and I just looked around me at things that were going on around me, nothing was happening. I could see we were all being led a merry dance. Nothing was happening, and yet people were really buying into it, and it made me want to puke. I realised then that I had no affiliation with my country or the people that live in it anymore. I mean, there must be some people out there that I can relate to, but they're not in my realm. Okay, so the rant has begun. Now, the clones. Now this is really a pet peeve of mine, right? Apparently there appears to me that there's two types of clone, right? The first type is the one that puts on the funny voice, you know, I'm going to punch you in your face, man, or I ride the boss. Now that really annoys me. That really gets my goat, right? Because it's a funny voice. It's not your real voice, my man. You're putting that voice on just so you can be like everybody else. Now why do you want to be like everybody else? And it's just a really annoying. And to make it worse, right, it's not just the kids that are doing it, it's also the adults, and that's just terrible. It's a mental illness, man. It's a severe case of identity crisis, and it bloody drives me mad. And not only is it not just the kids, it's the adults, but it's also not just Londoners. It's people from Norwich who are even doing it. Right, I was living in Norfolk for a few years, in Suffolk, and people go, I ride the tractor, boss. Clone type number two, fat blokes with beards. Oh my God. Oh my giddy aunts, right? You've got these overweight, low testosterone. I agree with you. I'm very inoffensive, a bit like a rabbit. But really, when I'm on my own and I go home, I'm seething. I disagree, really, but I don't want to. I don't like the conflict. I can't be doing with that. So I go home and I seethe and I'm resentful because it's a fact in life, right? That if you're disagreeable, you get more out of life than if you're agreeable. If you go, yes sir, no sir, what can I do to help you, right? Then I agree with everything you say, sir, then you're never going to get a rise at work because your boss knows that he doesn't have to give it to you. Also, if you're there to be taken advantage of, people will take advantage of you. So these fat blokes with beards, right, they're all agreeable and jolly when you see them, but they go home and they're not agreeable and jolly at home. They're seething, they're resentful, they're bitter. And that's not a good way to be because they look at the world in a bad way and they become nihilistic, and it's not good at all. You know, and to all my friends that are fat blokes with beards, right, it doesn't matter if you've got tattoos, you're still not cool. It doesn't matter if you've got piercings, you're still not cool. It doesn't matter if you wear nice clothes or you wear a hat at a jaunty angle, you're still not cool. The real thing you need to do is work on being a fat bloke with beard, right? It involves a razor blade and a pair of running shoes, and that will change everything, right? But obviously you're a fat bloke with a beard, so you're going to take the path of least resistance, and you think that having a tattoo or a hat at a jaunty angle is going to make you look cool. Nah mate, I've got news for you. Doesn't matter what car you drive, nothing matters. You're a fat bloke with a beard. Okay, so now I've offended people, right? Now that's a shame, but you can sit there and wallow in your self-pity if you want. Nobody really cares. Nobody can do anything about it other than you. You can bring Gillette into play, and you can bring Nike or Adidas into play, but sitting there blubbing and feeling sorry for yourself because it's different for me than it is for everybody else, just doesn't cut the mustard. They say you can't judge a book by its character. I say sometimes yes you can. I would like to say though, as a caveat, that there's good blokes and bad blokes everywhere, wherever you go, and there are some fat blokes with beards out there that they work hard and they're dynamic and they do the right thing even when no one's looking. I know this to be true because my friend told me. Okay, so he was a fat bloke with a beard, but you know, I don't hate fat blokes with beards, I really don't. I don't hate anybody. It's not in my nature to hate anybody. It's an observation, and it's the mentality that really annoys me. I mean, these people are the people that would go to war or fight for us if impending World War III actually happens. I mean, it's not good, is it really? And I mean, they're just people that are trying to go through life and do the best they can, obviously without overexerting themselves. Number 2 is politics. I mean, now come on, right? Sadiq Khan. What he's doing with London is disgraceful. It's actually worse than disgraceful. It's downright sinister. Even a fat bloke with a beard can see that. What was once probably the greatest capital in the world is now a crime-ridden, clogged-up shithole. My hometown of Enfield used to be a lovely London suburb. As a child, as I grew up in the 70s and the 80s, it was a lovely place to be. It was a beautiful place. It was peaceful, and there was trees, and it was rural, but now it's home to rioting and murder and Billy Coy's Warren. I mean, you know, the whole thing is gradually going downhill, and we can see it. The trouble is, right, because it happens so incrementally, right, little bit by bit, right, at what point do we say no? You're Boris Johnson, just a smug, self-serving liar who will adopt any stance that he needs to adopt to get the power that he wants. What a wanker, right? And then you've got Liz Truss. I mean, and then Rishi Sunak, right? Right, now, he's got the sincerity of a kiss from a whore. That man, what's he doing to our country? It doesn't matter who you vote for, they all seem to adopt the same stance, and that's a bit of a worry, isn't it? It's a bit sinister. They don't really bring anything to the party, any individuality, any innovation. They're towing the line. There's someone above them that are telling them what to do. I actually believe that when David Cameron gave us the vote in 2016, when he announced his Conservative Party manifesto in 2016, he said, if you vote for me, I will give you a referendum on whether we leave the EU or not. And then he didn't expect us to actually vote to leave the EU, and when we did, he left the next day. Or was he sacked? Now, there are worthy causes out there, right? If you look at Myanmar, right? Lovely Myanmar, the most beautiful people you could ever wish to meet, right? Now, they're going for a military coup at the moment. You didn't know that, did you? You didn't know that. You had no idea, right? And people are being slaughtered, and it's not right. And no one knows about that, but we stand with Ukraine. What a bunch of wankers. Number 3 is fear-mongering. Now, we've got Antifa, we've got LGBTQ, we've got Black Lives Matter, we've got the Muslim, whatever they're called this week, thing going on, right? All separating us and dividing us from each other. There's no community anymore. What happened to looking after next door's kids for a while they go shopping? What happened to borrowing a cup of sugar? Half the time we don't even know where our neighbours aren't anymore. There's no community anymore. There's no sense of togetherness, and that's part of the plan, right? You make everybody feel weak. You make everybody feel scared. I'm not going to be weak and scared. I'm just going to go somewhere else where I don't feel weak and scared, somewhere where I feel happy and warm and I'm welcomed, and the people are friendly. I get smiled at all the time. You don't get that in the UK anymore. Not very often anyway. Everybody seems to be polarised, indoctrinated, and as thick as 2 short planks. Here in Cambodia, everybody treats each other with respect. It's an old-fashioned concept, but it seems to work pretty well, you know. And critical thinking is actually encouraged here, not toe the party line and don't. If you don't agree with us, and if you say anything out of line, then you're going to be punished. Now, that's evil. That's communism. That's been done many times before. You look at history, right? And the good guys have never told you what to think. The good guys have never told you to shut up. The good guys have always encouraged debate, and that's what democracy is. 50 years ago, this country went through hell, like really, it went through hell. It was every bit as bad as the Holocaust and Chairman Mao and Stalin's gulags. You look it up, right? It's not as well publicised as some of the other places, because maybe they were a bit closer to home or a bit more, you know, country with a higher GDP. But this was awful, absolutely awful. Look it up, watch the movies. It's diabolical. I'm not going to elaborate on it because I haven't got the words and I'm not eloquent enough to give it justice, and I don't want to cheapen it by going on. But honestly, it was horrendous, and it was only less than, it was in the 1970s, 1975 to 1980. So it was well within my lifetime. When I think about how I was living my life then compared to what these poor people were going through, it's horrendous. You know, so it stops me moaning about oh, it's a bit hot today, oh, I'm a little bit hungry or whatever, you know. Trivialities, man. Okay, yeah, so you're worried about saying something bad or doing something that's not allowed because you're going to be punished for the greater good. Yeah, does that sound familiar? It's a bit sinister if you ask me, and I don't want any part of it. Number 4 is a ridiculous climate bollocks, right? Now, you would be, in 2030, apparently, we're not going to be able to buy a brand new diesel or petrol car anymore. We've got to have these new boilers installed that cost thousands and thousands of pounds. Now, come on, man, it's all a fucking plan, it's all a ploy. Okay, so maybe we go a bit heavy on the single-use plastic bags, and we could cut that out a bit. I do agree with some things, right, but most of it is crap. Now, if anyone can educate me, I'm always happy to be proved wrong, and you let me know in the comments down below, right? But I can tell you this, right? About 20 years ago, I was watching a video about the Hoover Dam and how in 5 years' time the Hoover Dam was going to be dry. Now, the Hoover Dam is the water supply for the whole of Las Vegas, the drinking water supply. Anyway, this was 15 or 20 years ago. What happened? What happened to the ozone layer? No one ever talks about the ozone layer anymore. Oh, it's okay again now, is it? Okay. What about the oil crisis back in the 1970s, when apparently there was a shortage of oil and we were going to run out of oil? Anyway, 50 years later, there's more vehicles on the road than ever before, and there's no talk of it there being a shortage. Now we're being conned. People moan about China, right? Now China manufactures and sells goods to the rest of the world. We buy them. Now, as a result of that, they're burning stuff, right, and they're leaving a big carbon footprint, but we're buying them. So how can we buy them and then moan about the carbon footprint that they're leaving, right? So there's a lot of countries in Asia that are having their industrial revolution now. We had ours in the 1800s, right? They're having theirs now. So you know, let's not be hypocrites about it. What's fair for one is fair for all. So if you really feel that bad about it, right, you know, when we're burning fires and manufacturing, having their industrial revolution now, go out in the kitchen and wash your yogurt pot and stick it in one of your 17 recycle bins. You fill your boots like, I hope it makes you feel happy. Anyway, I feel like maybe I've ranted a little bit here, so I'm going to calm things down again now. And number 5 has got to be the weather. I mean, the weather here today is, I did a nipple test earlier on and I believe it was 34 degrees. Every day is very hot. And some people moan about it, but personally, I don't like the cold. I'd rather be too hot than too cold. Anyway, I get a bit of solar power on the old ball patch, so that helps me go through life as well. But you know, it's lovely here, and I don't want to live in the snow. I don't care if I never see snow again. I don't care if I never have to wear a big coat again. It has a rainy season here, but I think around May time until October or November, it rains, and sometimes it really does rain. Sometimes it'll rain for an hour and then the sun will come out again. Other times it'll piss down for like days on end, and it keeps you awake at night because he's banging on the tin roof of your apartment or whatever. And but you know, that's all part of the deal. But when it does stop, it's warm again. It's lovely, and this is a truly fantastic place. And when I look at our country, our sophisticated, our modern, our you know, our fantastic. It's a pile of crap. It's getting worse and worse and worse. And you know what the good thing is? I don't really watch the news much anymore. But if there's anything good that's happened recently, then can you let me know in the comments below as well? So yeah, so there's a bit of food for thought there. Maybe I'm missing something, but as far as I can see, I've left nothing, and I've gained a lot. As usual, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. I know it's a bit ranty, but that can be quite entertaining at times, can't it? Well, I think so anyway. I hope so. Anyway, so if you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing if you haven't already done so, ringing the bell, liking, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and I'll see you very soon. Akon Chiran and Leah Hai.